Hi guys, I hope you're all well today. It's New Year's Eve right now, and tomorrow, of course, will be New Year's Day. So if you're listening to this on New Year's Day, then Happy New Year to you. I would like to break from the previous formats of the podcast where I did some sex doll news, some feedback, some things that were going on with the business, and I would just like to talk about a single issue. I want to touch upon it because it's a very large topic and it will take a lot of discussion. And I know it might rile a few people up even, and we may get some negative feedback for this. I'm not expecting it. I don't want it. But if it comes, then obviously we're going to look at it. I'm going to try and treat this matter as delicately as I can as well. So first of all, I'm going to say it's very good timing because it's a new year. And at New Year, we all commonly make resolutions. And I think also more commonly, we also fail to realize these resolutions. Now, I understand that there are some of you out there who perhaps do realize their resolutions and are very good and very organized. But I speak to the majority of people, including myself. And we all fall into a trap of making wild and huge ambitions, which are very, very ambitious, but perhaps not realistic given our previous goals or our previous achievements. So I think I'm going to do this as well, but I would also invite you to do it with me. And what I would say you should do this year, instead of making some large ambitions, just pick 2 or 3 small, relatively easily achievable ambitions. And I would pick one that you can achieve in the first week or 2 of January. Not something that you're going to do anyway, like get out of bed, but something that you probably wouldn't do, but know that you either need to do it, or if you did do it, that it would make quite a big benefit to your life. Again, this doesn't have to be something hugely unachievable or difficult, something that you know you can achieve within the first week or 2. Now, what that does in actually achieving that, it actually kind of sends a different signal to our minds that things aren't so difficult, things aren't unachievable, and that we can actually achieve things. And the best way to do that, to achieve any goal, is to make small steps. If you want to become, or if you want to run a marathon, it's probably not a good idea to try and run a marathon length, is it 23 miles or 26 miles or whatever, in a single day or tomorrow, if you've never run that length. So if you do want to build up to that marathon, then what I would suggest is maybe set a goal in the first week of running a mile. If you've never run a mile, run to the end of the street. Just something like that. And in doing that and in achieving that, something you know you kind of can't be bothered or you don't want to, but you can achieve it in that first single attempt. And make that one your first resolution for the first week or 2 of January. And I think once you achieve that, you're going to send a different signal to yourself that you are an achiever rather than somebody who makes resolutions and doesn't actually fulfill them. And then maybe pick another 2 resolutions which you can fulfill later on in the year. Maybe another one by sort of March time, and then maybe another one by July or August time. And again, just make these, you can make these slightly harder, or you can make them on a same kind of level. Something, again, that you don't particularly want to do, but you know if you do these things, then it will make a big change to your life. And again, don't make these too hard, because what you don't want to do is achieve the first one and then not achieve the second 2. Make 2 or 3 resolutions that you can achieve, and just say to yourself, look, I'm going to achieve these and see how I feel at the end of it. But anyway, that's enough of sort of general advice. I'm going to do that. And as I say, I welcome you to try that as well. And please let me know if you do that as an experiment, if it works for you, certainly after the first week or two of January. Let me know how you feel and if that does make a positive change, because I think too many of us really overreach ourselves, myself included. And really, I think we just really need to start teaching ourselves that we can achieve in this life. Now, that kind of comes on with me, and I guess that's a resolution for me, and I'm going to make a resolution now. It's December the 30th, but my resolution is to approach this topic. It's something I've thought about for a long time, and it's something I need to get out there, but it's something I don't want to cause offense about. It's also something I want to help our business with. I don't want to hurt our business with this. And so I would like to get into it. And what I want to talk about is the possible uses of a sex doll. And I've touched upon this in a previous podcast where I've talked about the two different kind of customers that we come across. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different variables and things, but in general, customers will fall into two camps. They will either drop into the sex doll world for a short period of time, and they will own a doll for 6 months or a year, and then they may move on with their life. Now, I think what's happening there is there's a small amount of healing or experimentation or curiosity that needs to be satisfied, some kind of sexual activity that needs to happen, some kind of emotional or purely physical, even in a non-sexual way, something that needs to be fulfilled. It could just be the simple act of sex. Some people are actually buying the dolls to lose their virginity. Whether technically that is correct, but certainly the feeling is there. And they can then go on to have sex with women or men. And then you have the other kind of customer who will get into the doll world and seemingly never come back out. Now, obviously for us, from a business point of view, that is good, because we do have a number of customers who we've sold a large number of dolls to. And these are, very important customers to us. But for us as a company, we would like to see that our dolls were being used in a way that would actually move people forward in their life. Now, there are many ways to move forward in your life, and I'm not saying that if you are stuck in the doll world, whereby you are having the majority or all of your relationships with women in the form of dolls, that is a problem with that. But if that is to be your life for the rest of your life, personally, I wouldn't want to see that. Even though that might mean more sales for us, I would like to see everybody moving on and growing from their use of dolls. Some people, as I've said, can do that in a period of 6 months. Some people might take many, many years. And for me, as long as that is what's happening, and people, even if they're in for a longer period of time, if they are growing from it, then I think that's also a good thing, because I don't think we can put a time scale on things. But what I wouldn't want is to sell somebody a doll or sell somebody dolls and for them to never ever go back into the world of women. I wouldn't want that, I would want them to either integrate women as well, if that's what they want. I know some people who do that, or they would move on to women and leave the doll world. From a business point of view, perhaps have a doll on the side as well. I heard a great concept the other day on Twitter, and somebody said have a sex doll as a side chick. I think that's a great idea. Anybody, it's a great way to say it. Anybody who's looking for extra marital or relationship events can get themselves a doll as well. And certainly if the partner's involved in that, or at least is aware of that, then there shouldn't be too much of a problem there. Now, it comes on to another issue, and this is perhaps where it might get contentious, the label. And the term is MGTOW, or MGTOW, MGTOW, which stands for men going their own way. I came across this movement a good few years ago, probably 2 or 3, 4 maybe years ago, when around the start of this business, and there's a certain overlap there. Now, men who are going their own way have become disaffected with women, potentially society as well, and they've decided to, certainly at the moment, to not get involved with women again. Now, that's a bit of a sad prospect for me. And although if everybody in the world went that way and went on to dolls, that would be beneficial for us as a business in terms of sales, I don't think that's something we would want. And we did, if you've ever heard the story of why we continued this business of our first customer, we were very interested in the healing aspect of things. And we were very happy with the fact that it allowed people to move on in their lives. Now, the MGTOW side of things is, again, this is where people are voluntarily deciding not to move further in relationships. I've listened to a lot of the arguments from both sides, from the feminist side, from the MGTOW side, and there are some good arguments there on both sides. There certainly are, on paper, at times, very logical. But I think logic isn't the only way to make a decision, and I don't think it is the way we actually make decisions. From what I gather and what I read, I think we make emotional decisions, very quick, very instinctive gut decisions, and then some of us will talk about them emotionally, and some of us will talk about them and justify them logically. I think we can focus on a lot of bad things that happen, a lot of particular instances of things being unfair. And once we get in with a group of people, we can all magnify our own opinions about why something is fair or unfair, or how a certain group is persecuting us or not. For me, I think the idea of marriage is still a fantastic thing. The idea of family is still a fantastic thing. And I feel sad for any man who says he never wants that again, or never wants to experience that in the first place. Yes, these things are very difficult. At times the odds are stacked against us. But the level of happiness that you can get from interacting with another human being, now even if that happiness is less than 50% of the time, the rewards that you get from that, the challenge that you get from that, from personally growing, from teaming up with another person or teaming up with a family, far outweighs the difficulties. And this is where things can get interesting, because instead of focusing on the negatives of other people, if you focus on the negatives or the positives of yourself, and you raise your own game, the negatives of other people around you don't seem as important. Now, I know within the MGTOW movement, there certainly seems to be that type of thing happening where you guys, if any of you, I'm not speaking to everybody, if any of you guys are listening, that you do self-improve yourself. And I think sometimes time away from women may well be a good thing. And the same thing with the use of sex dolls for a period of time is a good thing. Abstinence, if you want to say it that way, or just the abstinence from relationships can be a good thing because it gives you time to work on yourself. But as a final solution, I don't think it's the right answer. I know I might well get bombarded by, what about this? Or what about this? Do you think this is fair? Do you think this is fair? And probably with a lot of what you throw at me, I'll have to agree and say, no, it's not fair. But life isn't fair. And it is in a sense because in this life, you can have anything you want within reason, but you have to work for it. And not only do you have to work for it, you have to make the right decisions, which is one of the hardest things in the world, because in any given day, you can be faced with 20 or 30 decisions. And making the right ones is always very tricky, and it requires a lot of luck at times. It requires a lot of practice, experience, guidance around you, associating yourself with the right people, reading the right books. And I think what I'm getting at is where I've tried to take this business in the past, and maybe not so openly and vocally, is I would like the business to be a force for good in your life. So if you're listening to this and you're either in the doll world or you're thinking about getting in the doll world, I would like sex dolls to be a force of good in your life. And by that I mean a force of growth, to help you grow, increase happiness, decrease loneliness, feel better about yourself. I don't want this to be like a cigarette company where you addict people to your products forever, or a drug company where you addict people to your products, because I think there's enough of us out there where there are more customers all the time for this business. And if ever there comes a point where everybody becomes so happy and sex dolls aren't necessary because relationships between both sexes have become fantastic, then that's a great thing. You know, I would happily trade that for this business. I don't think this business alone will achieve that. Maybe that will never happen, but it would be wonderful. And if you ask me now if we could do that, would you want that? And I would say yes, because then everybody, including myself, would be a lot happier. So I think to finalize things, again, I'd like to wish you a Happy New Year. And I'd like to say that going forward, I would very much like to try and develop this business more so that it comes across as almost a development platform. And if anybody has any feedback about how we can do that and how we can all help one another to develop and become more competent people, happier people, stronger people, more responsible people, in a healthy way that works for us, then I would love some feedback on that. Please, I don't want to get into real specifics about how this is happening or this is happening or such and such said this. I would really like to focus on the benefits and the positive ways to grow. And one of the things I wanted to do, for example, was maybe make some links to certain people out there in the world who I think are making a real positive contribution. People like Jordan Peterson. I haven't analysed all of his material, but he does say a lot of good things, and I agree with a lot of what he says. I'm wondering if we can create a section on the website where we can have a sort of a positive development side of things. And I wonder how people would feel about that. I mean, is that too much down your throat? Is that something you would be interested in? Is that something you want to do yourself? But it's certainly something. I mean, even in our mailing campaigns or something, I'd thought about sending out emails to ideas of improvement and things. And personally, it's something that I try to do a lot. I try to improve all of the time. I read a lot of books. I've started to do a lot of exercise. I've cleaned up my diet a lot, and I want to implement that into our business, and especially as the business is there are some female customers, but it is very male orientated, and I would very much like to focus on that. And I would like to know, is that something you would like from us, and is that something you have any ideas about? For me, it's certainly, and the business is Lovedoll UK, and we specifically named it that rather than Sex Doll or anything like that, because, without getting too soppy about it, I think there is certainly an element of love here, and that's love for ourselves, and once we've achieved that, then love for other people as well. So please, if you've got any feedback on this, I don't feel I've touched upon it or gone as deep as I would like to on this. But I wanted to start this, and I wanted to get this out before New Year. So I hope it makes sense to you. And again, if there's some feedback out there, please send it our way.